All right. Well, Alan, thank you so much for joining me today. This is day 10 of the Men in Recovery series for National Recovery Month 2016. And I just have to say, I am so thrilled to be able to interview you, to have you as a friend, as a mentor, just a true gift in my life. And so the fact that we can memorialize this conversation is fun for me too.
Well, the feeling is quite mutual there.
Yeah, well, thank you. And so I start every conversation the same with asking you one question, and then we'll go from there. But the question is, what is the greatest gift that recovery has given you to help you be the man you always wanted to be?
I think the greatest gift that it's given me is to realize that my well-being is determined by what I do and not by what other people are or are not doing or what's happening in terms of a situation or event in my life. And it's given me the ability to find a peace of mind and a serenity that comes from not an arrogance that I can handle anything, but a sense that I can always find, with the help of others, not just by myself, but and that's part of the secret to this whole thing, is that there's always a way I can respond to a situation where I can take care of myself. The way I explain it all the time is that I've been able to find a way to keep my emotional center of gravity within me and not get knocked off balance as much as I used to be. Now, I'm not saying that I do that perfectly and I'm never knocked off balance. I am. But today I'm able to recover that balance so much quicker. And I don't need to drink or use to be able to take care of myself. I think before, when I look back now, a lot of my drinking and using was because I didn't know how to deal with anything at that point in time, other than picking up a drink or getting high. And so that's been the greatest gift, man. And it's, look, this August I've celebrated 45 years.
Wow.
So, it's been a long, long, long time coming.
Wow. Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
45 years.
45 years.
That's just phenomenal. That's phenomenal. So it's interesting too, right? Because here you are, a man, and you're talking about the greatest gift of recovery has been self-care in many ways.
Yeah, interesting. One of the things I use, and I'm a psychologist as well, and so I work with a lot of people in a clinical context or in a clinical setting. One of the things I talk a lot of times about with my patients about is this idea of erasing yourself. Well, I was able to erase myself quite well before I came in the program. I didn't know how to take care of myself. I denied my needs, my wants, my desires. And I always tell everybody, because of that, I became very self-centered. Because I didn't know how to take care of myself. Then then it turned out that it always had to be about me. But once I started taking care of myself better, then I could let go of a lot of that selfishness and have an awareness of others, because it didn't have to be about me all the time, which is kind of a paradox, right?
It sounds a lot like a paradox.
Right? The more self-care I had, the less selfish I could become. Because the selfishness was that it had to be about me, because that was the only way I thought I was going to be able to be okay and be taken care of.
Well, isn't that a wonderful message to men in particular, but to anybody who's afraid that if I take care of myself, I'm just being selfish. I'm turning my back on other people, and yet what you're saying is by taking care of yourself the way that you need to, you're able to be more present, more connected to the relationships that matter the most, and not hold them hostage or require them to be something they can never be for you.
Yeah, very, very true. See, what I discovered is that are two strong desires inside of me. There's a desire to march to my own drum, do my own thing, that kind of stuff. But I also have a strong desire to cooperate and be in connection with, in union with others. And before, I didn't know how to keep those balanced. I'd fall out of one side of that better the other, right? It was either erase myself and take care of your needs, or erase you and take care of my needs. And now I can stay in the middle, and which is really interesting because a lot of master therapists talk about that mental health is when you have an awareness of yourself and others simultaneously. That's the healthiest position to take. And it's interesting how our program really promotes that. How the 12 steps really promote us getting to that place.
So what does this mean for men in recovery? What you're sharing, this wisdom that you're sharing, what could you share for men who are seeking kind of their best self?
Well, I think that you and I share so many beliefs about the importance of men doing their own work. And that would be the big message I would give, is that really create a space in your life to take a look at the unfinished business that you've got. Take a look at the, as you call it, the man rules, right? How they've affected your life, shaped you as a person. What have those things done? And not that you're going to throw all those out. I love being a man. I mean, there's a lot of great, for me, things about being a man. And yet the rules today are not something that are imposed on me, that they come more out of a digested, integrated sense, right? I've taken a look at things, and there's certain things that I like and that I hold on to, but they're not rigid anymore, those rules for me. They're very, very flexible.
They're relaxed.
Yeah, they're relaxed. That's a good way. Somebody called it kind of an integrated masculinity, and I like that it's relaxed, integrated, flexible.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing I see today. And I think that that's one of the things that's helped me learn how to better cope with life. I was very rigid before. Everything had to be a certain way for me to be okay. And today, nothing has to be a certain way for me to be okay. I have to be a certain way to be okay. The situation can be whatever it's going to be, but it's how I meet it that's going to be the real issue.
Well, I mean, you and I just shared a wonderful evening, right?
It was a fantastic night.
So we got to go with our families to this beautiful park where was it? Agora Hills?
Agora Hills, Peter Strauss Ranch.
And an amazing band. And this one little boy, after the band invited everybody to dance, nobody gets out. And then this one little boy goes out and he starts dancing.
Aiden.
Yeah.
Aiden, that's right. It was Aiden. Aiden. That's right. It was Aiden.
And there he is dancing by himself. It was so wonderful to see. And then shortly after, you and Maddie got up, and then Grace and I came down, and there you and I are dancing with our daughters. And I just, I had to think, like, this is what it's all about. I mean, like, this is the gift of recovery. This is the gift to be present. And there were a lot of people that were dancing that had beers in their hands and had, you could smell some of the pot. And it's just like, hey, that's for them. But it felt so good for me to be able to do all of that and dance and get out of myself without having any substances in my body, to feel free to model that for our girls and just have fun.
Maybe another way of saying what I said earlier, Dan, is that the greatest gift is freedom. Is the ability to get up. I mean, before, I remember, when I was in high school, I would be so nervous about getting up and dancing. How was I going to look? What was everybody going to think about me? And tonight, I was just thinking about, this is going to be so much fun with Maddie. We're going to get to share a special moment. And see, that's a freedom from that is just such a gift. And it was wonderful when you came down. He even got better. But I loved that boy when he got up. here's a boy getting up and dance. I mean,
Exactly.
how about that? I
Yeah.
mean, was that amazing?
That was special.
And I loved how the band stopped and recognized him.
Yeah.
And they said, let's, and then you started the Aiden chant. I loved it. I mean, to really recognize him, because that's, that's stuff before. When I was growing up, that boy would have been called a sissy.
That's right. That's right. People would have laughed.
They would have been laughed. I mean, that boy would have been really ridiculed in my neighborhood. It would not have been celebrated like he was in this event. And, thank God there was either a higher consciousness or a drug influence consciousness,
or a higher consciousness,
or a higher consciousness. But it's probably a bit of both. But it was wonderful. It was a wonderful night to see that.
Yeah,
and that's a wonderful night to share that. And then our little girls went and played. Then you and I danced.
Yeah,
connected arms. We swung around, and then pretty soon the whole dance floor was filled with people coming down and having fun.
Oh man, and it is such an amazing. It's such an amazing journey. I mean, I am still so much on this journey of trying to figure out the man I want to be, and all the mistakes I make with Nancy and with Grace. And, I think the best way of saying it is I am not the man I want to be, but I am far from the man I was.
Wow. Yeah. You're definitely unfolding. And I still see myself doing that as well. Unfolding in the direction now of discovering so many new possibilities. I think that's the way I like to talk about recovery, is that, and I've seen it in you. I've seen all the new possibilities you keep discovering and creating in your life. That's the other thing that I see that you do and I do in our lives. Our recovery is not passive.
No.
It's not passive. And that's one of the biggest things that I would warn a lot of men is, surrender doesn't mean passivity.
Yeah.
So you're surrendering something. You're surrendering that ego, the false self, whatever you want to call it. But it takes a lot of active involvement to pull that off and to get to where you want to go. And I know you've worked hard in your recovery. You still do. I see your commitment. You go into meetings. I mean, you really make it a priority in your life. And I've made it a priority in my life too now for 45 years. I mean, everything is, to me, it's about recovery. I'm not afraid to share that with anybody. It blows people's minds at times, but I'll talk openly about my recovery to anybody, anytime, anywhere.
That's phenomenal. And, you say that about men. And I think the thing that I see with a lot of men, including myself sometimes, is this tendency that we still want to graduate. We still want to be the guy who's done. We want to be the guy with the answers, the guy who's figured it out. We can guide everybody else. We can let them know, how it is, but that there's still that piece, I think, for so many men, and that it hits core to our masculinity of like, I'm done, I've graduated, now I'm the guide. And I think that's so dangerous for those of us with long-term recovery, is losing that spiritual existential sense of being a newcomer all the time.
That's so true. I just thought of a couple things. Like, one thought that crossed my mind is that I'm so much freer today that I know I'm stupid. I did a real stupid thing last week, and I could just own it. I think I even told you about it. The Marshall Tucker band was playing up here at the Canyon Club up in Agoura Hills, and I wanted to go see him. I thought they were playing Monday night. I bought 4 seats. Jeff's parents, my wife's parents are in town. We were going to go show up Monday at the club. We're there at 6:30. The club's closed. Oh, they must not be open. The doors till 7. We come back at 7. The doors closed. Finally, Jess looks at the tickets. They were for Sunday night.
Oh.
I went on Monday night, and I told everybody it was Monday night.
Oh.
We had great seats on. But, I could laugh at that. We could make the best of it. It didn't ruin the evening. We went and had dinner. We had a nice, relaxed dinner. We had a nice conversation. Even tonight, when you said, God, if we don't get to the get to go to Peter Strauss Ranch if somehow we get too late to find any place to sit. Look, we got great company. But see, that's the gift here, isn't it? That we can roll with these things, that they don't have to define us anymore. They're just an experience we can have, and our relationship to that experience is going to determine how we feel about it, not what is happening.
Yeah.
And see, that's the gift, man. With that in your pocket, you can cope with anything. And Bill Wilson said this, man. That was one of the promises he held out, that no matter what happens, you can be okay.
Yeah.
Once you start to get some of these principles and start to work these principles in your life.
Well, I just want to say, so I always give my guests the last word. So I just want to say that, I just moved to California. It's scary, stressful, it's lonely at times. Having a friend like you, having a mentor like you, has made it so much easier for me, for our family. So I just want to really honor you. I'm so excited about the book we're doing.
God, I'm so excited about that too. And
called What Men Would Tell You If They Weren't Too Busy Watching TV, coming soon. And you can get a preview of it actually at whatmenwouldtellyou.com if you're interested. But I just want to say, man, I love you. I love you for who you are, for who you've been, your generosity. You're an incredible model for me of the man I want to be someday.
Well, thank you, Dan. That means a lot to me. I respect your work tremendously. I love what you're doing and the message you're carrying to men in recovery. By the way, people could get that CD we did together on iTunes if we give a little infomercial here. They could pick it up on iTunes and hear some of the conversation we have, because it's a phenomenal conversation that we captured on that recording. And the book, everybody that's previewed it and started to see some of the first chapters we've written are very excited about it. And we hope to be able to have that out into the world next year. But thank you so much. Look, California, there's usually a bumper sticker that says, "Hope you enjoyed your visit, now leave." But we will change that for you. Hope you enjoyed your visit, please stay. Because we want quality people like you out here, man. You're going to add a lot to the warmth and to the wisdom in this state.
Thanks so much.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me on the interview. Number 10 out of 30, right?
There you go. All right.
All right, man. Take care.